Hey guys, it's Mike, another King Arthur Legends Rise video. We have done it. We have set out to complete a goal, and finally after 9 months we have. I have officially made my first dollar on YouTube, although they won't pay me till I make 50. I set out for this goal early last year and was trying to figure out a good strategy to go with. It's something that has been in the back of my mind for a really long time, and we got it done. So thank you guys so much for the support. I couldn't have done it without you. Now it's just getting 50 more of them, and then we can get a check, which would be pretty exciting. It's been a super fun journey, and I got to play games along the way, so how bad could it be? Today we're actually going to talk about the dungeons and take a peek at where I'm at, zip through a majority of them, and see if we can progress the account. I have made several upgrades to my players over the last few days through the videos that we saw and so forth, so hopefully we can get through a few more things. I did actually already jump into Shrine of Storms, and I was able to complete stage 10, but we'll talk about how I did it. Starting with Plane of the Beast, I've been able to do stage 10 for a while now. My run is getting down in time pretty good. I did finally equip the Flame Relic for Tristan. I was defeating it without the Flame Relic, just using his Common Storm Relic was doing the trick. But this team right here is really everything you need. I don't even know that you really need Morgan or Nika. Heals aren't really all that important. It'd probably be just as advantageous to come in here and bring in like a Bedivere. Might just speed the run up a little more. And we'll take a peek at that and see how it goes. We're gonna go one, because otherwise I'm gonna run out of energy doing all this. If you come in here on Bedivere, use his A2. And then this guy here, and on K we're using the A2. I'm trying to think why. We don't really need the AoE damage, but on Tristan we definitely want his A1. So having this set up here, you're not going to be chasing Vigor. Everybody's going to be able to do the main skill every single time, or pretty close to it. I guess you would fall a little bit behind, but we'll go in and see how this goes. And then you do want to focus on the boss directly. We'll see. That's funny. I just saw the damage come in, and I'm like, well, maybe you do need Nika. I'm not entirely sure, but I think that everything dies quickly enough. Like, we already got the shield down. That's the Flame Relic with Tristan. Just does amazing work as far as getting extra hits in there. That A3 is an 8-hitter, so it really does a lot of damage there for you. And then we got Bedivere doing his thing, and it's a pretty quick run. Although it was with Nika. With Nika, I usually would get it where he wouldn't get his shield back. So that could just be bad RNG, because technically this should be doing better than that. But we can roll through Pinvid without a problem here. Alright, so victory, everybody's alive. So you could get through there without a healer. Not really a necessary piece to that. But you do need to be hitting pretty hard, otherwise the boar will get you. But stage 10 is in the bags. As we move over to Burning Land, the same team I've been running for a long time here. We're down to a minute 56. This time shot up dramatically once I got Rosier Chivalry level 8, because she started adding the dots, or extending the buffs of the dots, which allowed them to stack on Gorgos. And this works really well. You could also get rid of Nika and replace her with a Vivian. So another run that could work. It was a little bit sketchier, but going with Lancelot, Rosier, and then Vivian. And I'm not sure that I even have Vivian all built. I keep pulling gear off her, but she actually converts all of the burns into heal over time. And then you could also get rid of Jarrett and bring in like Anguish or another dot damage dealer. And this team here is actually pretty quick. But once Rosier's on Chivalry level 8, this gets significantly easier. Any healer, Rosier and Jarrett, is going to get through this boss without any problem at all. I did step up finally and put some energy into Lancelot. He's not done yet, but I did get his... I think his effect accuracy was like 40% or something. So I did get that up over 70, I believe, maybe even 80. So he's actually landing some stuff now, so that's really good. But yeah, we're just stacking up. If we take a peek, we'll take this off auto because we're probably going to kill him real quick. If we go into here, we can see the burns that are stacking up. Bleeds, burn, chill. They do, and then with the extra turns on them, if Gorgos gets a turn, that stays on there, and so then it'll stack up the next time Rosier extends those those debuffs. So you can really get a lot of dots going on Gorgos in a pretty short amount of time. You see, we almost got him, but the next time he takes a turn, he'll be dead. So that's the end of that. Vivian, as weak as she is still doing enough work to keep us alive, but Jarrett is an all-star in this space. Doesn't do the healing, but he keeps the burns off you. So you could probably get away with Jarrett and no healer if you're landing enough dots and you have your Rosier on Chivalry level 8, also with her Flame Relic. So a couple caveats there, but that is a 100% team rolling through there and getting some good work done. As we move over to Frozen Plains, I'm not going to make you watch this fight because it takes forever. I still have not built my Accolone. I am working on it though. It is a work in progress. That will be helpful, but I really need to bring more damage into this fight. The team I'm running, as you can see here, is the Sergius Speed Us Up. Now in this case, Sergius is trying to speed us up in order for me to have a better opportunity to land the heal disruption during hibernation. So again, we're not focused on the boss. I need to change that. Make sure they always focus on the boss, because I'm dropping all my debuffs right over here. That's not what I want. But when we get to the hibernation, Kay on her A2 with the Frost Relic has the 40% chance to land it for the heal disruption, and then Morgan on her A3 has, I think it's like a 60%, 70% chance, something like that. But bringing Sergius in here allows them to get multiple tries at it instead of just one. Audrey is immune to turn meter manipulation, so she's not gonna, I'm not gonna be able to lap her like I can with other content with the Sergio Morgan combo. But I am able to speed us up so that we get a couple turns per hibernation. So this is the first time we're hibernating here. The first turn doesn't really matter. The second turn is what we're hoping to get. So we got that debuff there, but we got to wait for Audrey to go to her next cycle. That debuff falls off. Now we need to land it again. So we got this stab with Morgan. I think Kay's actually going to go first. So she's running her A2. She actually landed it with her A2. Then Morgan got to go, would have had a chance to land it, and that was it, just the two of them that time. So the way the RNG worked wasn't very good. I happened to get lucky. So we'll play this one out all the way to the end, and then I'll bring you back in and won't make you watch the 18 minutes or whatever it is. That this is a painful run for me, but it is 100%. I don't ever lose. It just takes forever. Bring you back in here. We're getting pretty close to the end here. This is painfully slow. I do think there's a lot of ways I could speed this team up. The first thing is I need somebody that does a lot of damage. I think Anya's getting pretty close. She's also positive affinity here with the counter strikes and whatnot going on there. She could probably be a good fit. Could also build up my Bedivere, but I really need to get him 6-star Awakened where I can get a Pierce banner on him so he's ignoring some defense. But Sergius here is absolutely doing no damage whatsoever, so that's slowing me down. Morgan is doing a tiny bit of damage, but she is dropping the defense, which is allowing other people to do damage. But I don't truly have a damage dealer in here. Like Kay she's in there also running just her A2, trying to make sure that we stay with the recovery disruption. So I'm just kind of tickling Audrey to death here, which is pretty sad. But I do want to come back and revisit this team, try bringing in Anya, try bringing in Bedivere. But that's where Accolone really makes a big benefit, because he lands this for 2 turns instead of 1. So he's going to get more opportunities to land that during the hibernation, because if he lands it on either turn, it's going to work instead of just the second turn. So it's a little less RNG. Can't tell you how many times I got right here and didn't land it, and then boom, we're healed all the way back up to here, and I'm waiting another 18 minutes. But usually when I'm running Audrey, I hit go and I walk away because it's too painful to watch. So that's usually the way that I fight the Frost Bear. But we are going to take her down. It is a 100% team, as you can see. Not in any danger of dying here. And eventually, she can't be tickled anymore, and she lays down, and it's over. It's over for all of us. So that is a work in progress, but it is a 100% team for Stage 10. As we move over to Shrine of Storms and take on Tarask, I did put a team together that did beat Stage 10, I think it was yesterday, which is pretty exciting. With the work that I did on Morgan and Sergius, I thought maybe I sped them up enough where if I ran Lancelot in the lead, getting that extra speed, 20%, That's going to help us out with the dot damage and whatnot. And then bringing in Rosier here to extend those dots and just keep those dots moving forward. Just in case Tarrasque does get a turn by the end of the fight, those dots come in and basically wipe him out, and just kind of a safety net. The fun thing with Rosier here, though, is she actually uses health to do her A3. So about halfway through the fight, she actually can no longer do her A3 because she doesn't have it. In this space here, I do need to make sure Sergius and Morgan are hitting their A3 and A2 every single time. So in order to do that, I did drop Lancelot to his A1. Still has the ability to land the burn rate, but if I start using his A3, I'm not going to have, eventually I get to a Sergius turn, he won't have vigor to do his A3, which is going to be a problem. So we can't be running that. We need Sergius every time, otherwise we get attacked, and at that point we don't have a healer on the team, so our health just goes away. And Tarrasque does hit pretty hard, but he's really just fast. So if he starts getting turns, he's gonna kind of hit you a lot, not necessarily super hard. But this is another one of those that's kind of a tickle to death. We could definitely speed this up, and if I can prove that this team never allows Tarrasque to have a turn, because obviously there's RNG with Morgan's 70% chance to drop turn meter, I can bring somebody that does more damage than Rosier and kind of move away from that dot backup plan. But this does work really effective, and it hasn't lost yet, so that's pretty cool. But I have only beat it, I think, 2 or 3 times, because I just wanted to test to make sure that it was actually a good team. But we did finally get through Tarrasque stage 10. Not going to make you watch this. I'll bring you back in at the end and we'll take a peek at how it went. Alright, so bring you back in. So here you got Rosier. She's basically almost dead, and that's just from her doing her own ability. So now she's stuck at doing her A1. But if we look at what's going on Tarrasque here, like, we have a whole bunch of burns and bleeds and all these turns extensions. Like, this one's on for 16 turns. That's on for the rest of his life. One thing to keep in mind on the on Tarrasque, though, is the dot taken damage is minus 90%. So you only get 10% of what this damage would bring. So it's not necessarily the most effective way to defeat Tarrasque. But now that we have this where we're like, hey, we have not gotten a turn, it could make sense to start looking at other people we could bring in instead of Rosier that could do more damage. If I did get my speed up 20% on my Morgan and Sergius, I could drop my Lancelot lead and bring in 2 damage dealers and really expedite this run. You could bring in maybe like a Flame Irit or a Flame Anya. Or Storm. I tend to try to do a positive affinity if I can, just because you get a little more damage that way. But just trying to find somebody that's going to really smack and go through his defense and do some serious damage, and then bring the cat down. So that's pretty much what we got going on here. At this point, we could actually let him take a turn, and he would probably just die from all of the dot damage that's on him. But with that 90%. Immunity, like, it doesn't do as much damage as you'd think. With all the stacks on him currently, like, that would kill, I think most bosses would probably die with that much going on. Like, you got 3% times all of those. I guess we need, what do we need? 30 of them? If we had 30 of them on there, then it would kill the boss, basically. But, so we're not quite there, but it would take a good chunk of life out of him. But once again, we're into another tickle fight, and at a certain point, he's just gonna lay down. He can't take it anymore, and we won the tickle fight. But again, this is a 100% run, at least so far that I've done it. I don't think I'm really in danger of dying. If I were, I could actually just bring Rosier out and bring in Nika, and then it would be a 100% run, because he can't hit me enough to kill me all in one shot. And then by the time he got another turn, I'd be topped off in health, and it wouldn't be a big deal. But that should be pretty good as far as being able to farm some of these pieces of equipment. I don't know if you have the same problem I do, but I never get common firestones, like, ever. It's so frustrating. I need the flame. Like, I was stuck on awakening flame relics, mostly because of the common flame stones. And it's like, man, I don't know what's going on with that. The drop rates seem to be a little bit bizarre. Or maybe I'm upgrading a lot more flame relics than anything else. But that takes care of the power-up dungeons there. Like, we've got stage 10 complete on all 4 of the bosses. It's just a matter of speeding those teams up and actually making them a little more efficient. But it is something I can farm across the board. As we move over to the equipment dungeons with Nest of Yscalag, we are doing stage 10 there. It's a 7-minute fight. And again, these times are cut by thirds. So this is the team. I think I've shown this a couple times on other videos, so we probably won't roll through this. But this is my standard team for any content that I'm trying to get through. But I do think that there's ways of being a little more effective here and trying to kind of put better people in order to get my time down quite a bit. But this is a 100% team. I don't think it ever fails. It just takes a little bit of time. So as we move over to Origin of Apolia, I have been struggling with this. It's not really a dungeon that I spend a lot of time in just because I think the gear sets you get in here are not very good. But I have been trying to work through some teams. It's kind of interesting to see. We got some Storm Anyas in here, Frost Morgan. So I do have Morgan's Frost Relic. That could be a benefit there. But I have struggled just because Apolia just hits really hard. So like my Lancelot will die in one hit when I get to that stage. So we'll probably take him out. Let's try something. We're gonna go ahead. We're gonna do this. We're gonna get rid of Sergius because he's not doing any damage for us. I think I'm gonna bring in 2 healers. I think, and just see if that can kind of help keep me a lot more durable. I don't think we do any dot damage here, so I think we're going to bring in Turin. We're going to leave the Storm Relic on Turin there. I should work on Morgan's Frost Relic. I have picked it up, but it is on level 1, so that would be probably a good thing because you can't do turn meter manipulation on Apolia, but I think that that Frost Relic, once I get it done, I don't have it done yet. And then either a Cormac or a Bedivere. I think we're going to go with Bedivere because we can use his A2, which will allow us to have vigor for these other 2 here and kind of go that route. Morgan, I'm trying to think. I do need her defense down. That's the thing. I'm trying to think who else I could bring in with defense down. But let's take a peek at what we get this set up for these. So Turin, we're going to use her A3 or A1, and Bedivere A2 or A1. That's going to be single target damage. I think we'll sit tight with Morgan as the AoE just to make sure the heals are available when we need them. And this is probably going to be another tickle fight, but it seems to be my MO these days. I'm just trying to get through the content, then I'll worry about how fast I'm getting through it. But let's give this team a shot, and then I'll bring you back in, figure out what happened. So those first 2 hits came in pretty brutal, almost killed me, and then he confused my Bedivere so that I hit my own Morgan and almost killed her. So I'm not entirely sure the move here, but I am not close to beating this. So I probably have the right people. I just need to play the chess game and figure out exactly where I'm falling down and go into it. Look at some of these guys here, like they beat them in 4 turns. That's going to be using Anya with her counter strike ability. I do have this entire team, so I definitely don't have my lot decked out at all, and I don't know if Chivalry level 4 is required for that to work or not, but it looks like that's a pretty effective team. A couple people using that. 4 turns. They beat the whole thing in 4 turns. I'm assuming the very first wave, Anya probably takes it completely out just with Counter-Strike, so it doesn't count as a turn, and then you get 4 turns on the boss. I don't even care about running through that fast. I just want to beat it. So, you know, here's some opportunities here. I could probably put together some of these teams here. I'm wondering what Tristan has in his kit, why they're using him short of damage. He is positive affinity, so that's kind of interesting, but I might have to take a peek at that and see what's going on. So in Fortress of Arsalis, it does allow for turn meter manipulation, so you can use your Sergius Morgan combo. Lancelot as the lead is going to help me make sure he doesn't get a turn, and then a damage dealer. Again, this is negative affinity, so probably not going to be the best choice. But once again, this is going to be a very slow battle. It's going to take quite a bit of time here. But I think this is a 100% fight. I don't think it's lost for me yet. But it could be significantly better for me to pull in a different damage dealer as positive affinity. and just kind of work through that. I'm trying to see if there's any way to expedite. I also, using Lancelot as a speed lead, I could spend a little more time on him, making him more of a glass cannon where he's doing more damage. Seeing how most of the teams he's involved with, he's basically trying to achieve the no turn for the enemy, and that way he's actually doing a little more damage to speed this whole thing up. But as we enter this fight here with the two-headed dragon, we have a whole nother phase after this, but the thought here is we prevent the dragon from getting a turn completely, although it's not looking like we need Morgan to land some stuff right now. Because, there we go. Okay, I was going to say, this dragon's a little bit faster than some of the other enemies. So, yeah, I was getting kind of close there. I don't have any healers on this team, so theoretically, if Morgan has really bad RNG, I guess it would have to happen 2 or 3 times, depending on how hard the dragon hits to kill me. But, I don't have anybody here to heal me up if I do take that damage on. But we're moving through this fairly quickly. We do have a whole nother phase after this. So I'll bring you back in when we get to that phase and see if there's any additional challenges. All right, so we knocked down that first phase of the dragon. We're on to the second. The first wave is actually just the 3 little dragons. So it's technically wave 3, but there's only a second wave of the dragon. So we'll see how this goes. I was thinking too, with my Bedivere, if I could get him 6-star awakened, I'm going to go ahead and get him in a Pierce banner, and that's going to help him do a lot more damage, ignoring some defense. And then those extra stats of attack and everything else are going to be a benefit as well. So I do think that he could be a good solution here, even though he is negative affinity. But utilizing his A2 for single target damage is actually super effective, just because you're not in a vigor fight with everybody. And again, we're in this battle where Sergius and Morgan have got to use their A3 and A2, and if they miss one time, all of a sudden I need to bring a healer into the team, and now I'm doing less damage. So that could be, it could be something to keep in mind on that end, but this seems to be pretty quick, actually, and this third wave is actually significantly faster than the previous ones. So I'm not sure if he actually got a turn, if I would die or not. It's been so long since I fought him legitimately. This is legitimate, but actually let him get a turn. It's been so long I don't recall how hard he hits. But that is it looks to be 100% unless Morgan has some bad RNG along the way, and then he can one-shot me. But these stripe sets and 5 stars pretty good. Love to get some 6-star gear on the account. But that's going to be, those are big wins, and they make a big difference when you're moving from 4 to 5 star. But it's just, that's the stuff you collect over time. And then last but not least, we got Pedarge's Sanctuary. I thought Vivian was going to be the answer. Turns out she's good, not great, at least the way I built her, so I need to work on that. But I have not been able to get past stage 8. I did recently beat the Forbidden Dungeon, level 100 on normal, and this was the team I used, and it was negative affinity on Pedarge at the end there. Now, obviously the mechanics are slightly different and things of that nature, but I thought that this team would do some serious work for me just because it's completely positive affinity. It could be worthwhile taking Nika out, trying to bring in Vivian, build her a little better, try to make that work for me. But unfortunately right now Pedarge stage 8 it eludes me, so I got Pedarge and then Origin of Apolia that I'm really kind of stuck on right now. But Origin of Apolia I'm not too concerned, just because I think, is Apolia? I don't know, the second dragon. Pretty sure it's this Origin of Apolia. There's no point to really farming there. Like, there's not, the gear in there is straight trash, so you don't want to use stamina to get through it. It is one of the tasks you have to do in the story mode and whatnot, or those achievement books. So I do need to beat it at some point, but I don't really care too much about how efficient the team is, because it's not someplace I'm going to be farming. Pedarge, on the other hand, some of the sets in here are pretty interesting, so I would like to start getting some of those on the account. But unfortunately, I have not been able to do so. So the struggle here is you got to kill these. The ads are the way that you bring Pedarge's life down. And typically, single target damage on the ads with the defense down tends to be the way to go. Not really conducive to an auto team, because you got to figure out who has defense down and click on them. But over time, you can get a little more damage. I think, again, if I built Lancelot and got him a little bit beefier on his damage, I think that would be a big win. But for the time being, it's kind of a struggle. We do have Sergius in here doing absolutely no damage at all, but he is allowing my team to lap the ads. And if you let the ads do all their damage, you start getting all these debuffs on you, and you start getting pretty beat up. So Sergius is in there to help with that, but that probably is not the best choice. It's just kind of my go-to out of the gate to try to start building a team. But realistically, it may make sense to get him out of there and bring somebody else in that actually does some damage. Potentially, I mean, even a Rosier doing single target dot damage could be a big win. Just that way I can go through specific ads at any given time. When Podarge is charging that attack, the strength of that attack is based on how many ads you kill during that charge. And as you can see, I killed 0. So that attack was actually pretty big. Nika comes in with her heals and kind of brings them back up over time. But it is a struggle. Like it's not a fast fight, and it's not an efficient fight. And I don't know. I think once we get past the halfway point, I get one shot. But it's hard for Nika to stay caught up on all the heals. Could be something where maybe you bring in a Nika and a Vivian and get rid of Sergius and just get rid of those dot damages and have extra healing. And then you're going to be, hitting with Morgan and hitting with Lancelot's going to be basically all your damage. That might be something. I could give a try and see how that works out. But I have tried this team before and it failed. I'm going to let it run and see if we happen to get lucky, but I'll bring you back in when we find out what happens. So we did get Podarge past their halfway point here, so we're going to see what happens at this point. I'm pretty sure I tried this team on stage 8 and it failed. So maybe I just had really bad RNG, or I'm about to get smacked. So we'll find out. That wasn't too damaging. A lot of debuffs though. That's kind of brutal, but we should be able to roll through those. Again, the Sergius Morgan combo, just trying to, get those extra heals from Nika before the ads get another turn. It's just a huge win, so it's hard to move away from that. I do think bringing Anya in with the counter strike could be a huge benefit here, and she can really smack with that A3 on the counter. And I do have her chivalry level 4, which is going to be a big benefit for her. This is a tough fight just because we're really relying on Lancelot and the flame and the dot damage to bring down the ads, and it's just a slow process. So when she starts charging her main ability, she smacks super hard because I can't kill a lot of them unless they're already close to dying prior to her starting that charge. But so far it seems to be holding up, so we'll keep on keeping on and maybe we get this wrapped up. Alright, so with that one charge in after the halfway point, Podarge just one-shot my Sergius, which is going to be a little bit of a problem because now we're not going to be lapping the ads the same way we were. We still have the attack gauge down that Morgan's bringing, but unfortunately we're not getting those extra heals before they get another turn from Nika. Now she's silenced. We're not going to get any heals at all from her. We got to wait a whole nother turn. So that could be the straw that breaks the camel's back because it's kind of interesting to see this team not function without Sergius. Because he does make a huge difference. There comes in a big heal right there. We probably, what do we got going on here? We probably just need a few, maybe 1 or 2 more of these guys to die. We might be able to roll through it. But it is a very slow battle. I must have gotten bad RNG on the last one. So now Morgan's dead. We're taking way too long. So every time we get back around to that ability, it's probably got like a 7-turn cooldown. And she's been able to use it twice, which is unfortunate. Oh, I don't want to die now. Oh, no. Oh, man. That's how close we were. That's how close we were. Nika's not going to be able to do this. Ooh, maybe some dots will come in. I just need a little bit. Oh, no. That's brutal. That's brutal. I can't believe that would have happened to me before. I would have remembered that. That was pretty awful. So as you can see, I'm close. I'm close to Podarge Sanctuary 8, but that's a far cry from being able to get through Sanctuary 10. So that's where I'm at with the dungeons. I've got the Origin of Apolia stage 10. I've got Podarge Sanctuary stage 8 through 10. Everything else is dialed in and working. On the Forbidden Dungeon, I did open up hard mode and I immediately got stuck on stage 2. So I'm going to try to get that done. I do have 5 tickets to use, probably don't have time to do that before the reset. So I'm going to go ahead and auto clear those, just get these extra resources. When you do get into the hard mode, you actually get 5 tickets for both hard and normal, which means you can go to level 100 and auto farm normal. And then as soon as you beat the first stage, which wasn't too bad, I rolled through it with our standard team, then you can auto farm that and get twice as many resources, which is kind of cool. But I am excited to be into the hard mode and start to see some of these challenges that are coming in. This one, I can't fight it now, but it's got Lapaldi here with another gnome, and the gnomes hit really hard when they do get a turn. So I think trying to get lapping them where they don't get a turn is the way to go, but I haven't figured it out quite yet. I also have to go through the sealed temple, so we'll get that going, get me some relic books going on there. But I think that's about what I got for you today. Just want to give you a heads up on where we're at in the dungeons. We are making some serious headway. Have not gotten through all of them quite yet, but we are getting closer every day. But I appreciate you hanging out with me today and sticking with me all the way to the end. If you haven't liked and subscribed to the channel, please do so. It means the world to me, and I look forward to seeing you next time.